Welcome, everyone. Welcome to Tuesday Tips. I've got a question for you this week. Do you ever wonder what type of tasks that you may be able to delegate when you're caring for an aging loved one? What can you really take off your plate? What can we do to help get you back some free time, give you a break? And hi, everyone. My name is Pam Dunwald. I am one of your nurse advocates from Your Nurse Advocates Consulting, and I wanted to welcome you back to another Tuesday Tips. Today, we're going to be discussing the topic that's really incredibly important for caregivers everywhere, and that's the Caregiver Task Cheat Sheet. We've got a guide, a free guide, and a checklist that we're going to be sharing with you this evening that's going to give you some information on just what types of tasks go into caring for an aging loved one, and then looking at those tasks, what needs to be done by you, might need to be done by a paid caregiver, but what else? What can be delegated? What can be taken off of your plate? And we're going to talk about things that out of town family members can do. Just because you have family members that are not local doesn't mean that they can't chip in and do something to help care for an aging loved one. We're going to talk about some of those things, and most importantly is we want to take some of the burden off your shoulders. You've got to be able to have some free time. I'm sure you have your own family, maybe your own grandkids. There are other people that are vying for time, for your time, as well as the time that you feel responsible for when caring for an aging loved one or a mom or a dad. So let's first talk about task delegation, and that's really important. And what I have up on the screen, this is just the beginning of the front cover of our checklist for you. So that's what it's going to look like. I've dropped the link into the comment section. Also gonna I'll go back here and put that in, show this here on the screen for a moment. And as we move forward, and we're going to take a look at the checklist so you can see what's in there and how it might help you. But first of all, let's talk about recognizing task delegation. It's crucial really to understand that delegating tasks isn't about giving up control or about shirking responsibilities. It's not something that, you need to dig in and say, only I can do this. I'm the one responsible. I'm the one that's going to take care of it. And the other side, another way to react to that would be just the opposite. You would feel that regardless of how hard it is on you, if you were to give up some of those responsibilities, you would feel like you were, shirking your responsibilities, that you weren't doing what you need to do. And neither one of them is true. It's just two different examples at the opposite ends of the spectrum. So what we need to look at is, instead, it's about prioritizing really what truly matters and ensuring that the care for your loved one is efficient. And efficient doesn't mean everything needs to be done by you. So by recognizing the tasks that you can delegate, you can free up some times for, other things that you can do, like providing emotional support for yourself, making important decisions, and some of those other things that only you can do. Maybe working with the doctor on the treatment plan, things that you really have to have your input in or be involved in. And some of these other things you can be able to delegate. So, you might be wondering, what tasks can I realistically delegate? I know you say, okay, I can delegate, but I know it's hard. It's hard to give up some of the things that you've been doing. You worry about whether someone's going to do them as well as you do. And so all of these ego things go into some of these thought processes that you're having when you're trying to decide to delegate. But start out small. If you really have trouble delegating, and you want to hang on to all the things that you're doing, start with something simple. Start with one task. Start with two tasks. Start slow. Start small, and see how it goes. And if you gain confidence that these tasks are being done well, then you can add more. So the key is if you're really, really reluctant to delegate tasks, start with something small. Start with one task with someone. Even if it's your spouse or a family member, start with one thing. When you're looking at housekeeping, do you really need to be the one that does all the cleaning, the laundry, other household chores that can be easily delegated to, a trusted friend, a neighbor, family member, or even hired help? depending on your situation. And right now we're gearing up for our boot camp. That's in progress. July 13th is our building blueprint for building a care team on a budget 30-day boot camp, where we're going to help you actually put together a volunteer group of caregivers. So if that's something they're interested in, just reply, drop a comment in here and say boot camp, and I will get you the information on that. That's going to be getting started in a couple of weeks. So another thing, okay, let's look at meal preparation. Preparing meals can be time consuming. Consider meal delivery. Now, I know that doesn't work for everybody. We live in a very rural part of Wisconsin. We do not have DoorDash, Hub Grub. We don't have any of those delivery services in our area because it's just too rural. But, in those areas where you do have that, like my daughter, my aging mom is in East Wisconsin in the Kenosha area. And where she lives, it's a little bit rural, but she's close enough to Kenosha that you can get some of these delivery services. So my daughter lives in Chicago, her granddaughter, and she'll oftentimes, call her up and say, on a Saturday, hey, Graham, what do you have a taste for? What can I order for you for a treat, for a meal today? And like a couple of weeks ago, she asked for shrimp egg foo young. So there was a Chinese restaurant close enough for Grubhub, and they would deliver. So she had that delivered to the door. My daughter paid for it, and Grandma was really happy. She had a nice meal that she hadn't had in a long time. So these are things that can be done. These are one of the things that can be done from people that don't live close by. They can order food, have food delivered, order groceries, have groceries delivered if you're in an area where delivery is possible. A lot of people, church families, other groups, civic organizations, the Moose Club, the Eagles Club, the VFW, groups that, they may belong to, including something like church. They have groups that will do some freezer meals. They'll have a meal chain, that each person, get 3 or 4 freezer meals a week. These do not need to be done by anyone special or anything in particular. This is something really easy. And I think where people run into trouble is they're afraid, they don't want to ask. Either I can do it, like we talked a minute ago, or they're very proud and they feel that they should be able to handle this on their own and they don't want to ask for help. But you know what? Asking for help is not a weakness. It's actually a strength. So recognizing the fact that you can't do it on your own, recognizing the fact that you're trying to protect your own mental health, that's a strength. To want to take care of you, there's nothing wrong with that. So don't hesitate to ask. People, I have found over the 40 years of nursing, I have found that there's more people that are willing to help than we realize, but they're afraid to offer because they don't know if you're one of those proud people that says, oh, no, I don't need help. And they feel like they're going to hurt your feelings or step on your toes. Or they don't know what you need, so they're afraid to ask. So please, you be the one to reach out and say, hey, throw your hand up in the air and say, anybody willing to, provide some meals a couple days a week, give me a break or whatever, that's just fine. Next thing, medication management. There's pill organizers. There are medications, they're called bubble packing, where a lot of pharmacists, it's very reasonable if they get those cards. It's like $5 a card. Depending on the pharmacy, they put a week's worth on one card or they put a day's worth on one card, but they usually charge some nominal fee, maybe $5 a card. And what they do is they load them all and they're in a punch system. So this even takes away the fact that someone has to go and fill up a pill caddy, and they just look at it's the day of the week and the time. They just punch out the card, the paper from the back, and there they have their dose of medications. Sometimes, and there are pros and cons of that. It's a very good system. It keeps people from having to physically fill up the pill caddies. But some elderly people, with arthritis in their fingers or their hands or their dexterity, sometimes they have trouble punching those cards. So it's a good idea. Maybe, if your pharmacy does it, you want to try it. Ask them for a sample card. Ask them for, to put M&Ms or put something, just ask for a sample card to actually see if your aging loved one can actually punch those medications out. Another thing that's really good about delegating is errands, grocery shopping, pharmacy runs, taking someone to the doctor, taking them to their doctor appointment, Again, giving you more time. This is not something that needs to be done by you. So by delegating these tasks, you not only ensure that things are being done efficiently, but you're also allowing yourself some time, to have some quality interactions with your loved one. And this is real important. Oftentimes what happens is the son or the daughter that's caring for an aging loved one, they are consumed by the caregiving role, that they're no longer the husband, they're no longer the wife, maybe they're no longer the son, or they're no longer the daughter, and they're consumed by this caregiving role, that they really can't, in this last stage of their parents or their mom or dad's life, they really can't spend the quality time with them and visit with them and do social things with them, and because they're too busy, they're too overwhelmed with the caregiving responsibility. So again, that's, allow yourself to be the son or the daughter, the husband or wife, or the grandchild. So, delegating tasks, isn't just about freeing up your schedule. It's about taking care of yourself. So self-care, as we mentioned, is really vital in maintaining your well-being and ensuring, that you can provide the best care possible. Imagine having more time to maybe exercise or even enjoy a hobby, go to a movie, go out to lunch with the girls, whatever that might be. Go, with the guys and play cards, whatever that free time might be, just to give yourself that mental break. So you'll find that you'll have even more energy and you'll be better equipped to handle the complexities of caregiving. And when a tough decision comes along, or when a challenge does come along, you'll feel refreshed and you won't feel burned out to be able to take on that task. So let's go ahead. I am going to have us take a peek here. This is the caregiving checklist. So this is just kind of what we're going to share with you, a little bit about Linda and I, so you know who we are, what our background is. And then we get into the checklist. So in our checklist, what you're going to see is, first of all, we start out with just a list of common caregiving tasks. So physical care, assisting with daily grooming, mobility exercises. It doesn't take someone who's specially trained. Once a physical therapist provides a home exercise program for your loved one, basically they're reading and looking at pictures and reading off a piece of paper, and they're exercising. So it doesn't require the skill of anyone with any medical knowledge or a physical therapist to walk them through their exercises every day. This can be done by anyone, but it's an important part of their treatment is to do these home exercises. So, or taking someone for a walk, even if it's just walking to the mailbox, and then maybe visiting with them. A lot of these simple things go a long way to improve keeping them healthy and improve the quality of life. Maybe someone can administer medications. That depends on the medications. That depends on the comfort level of the person. I'm not saying that you may never need to have some paid caregiving help in the home, because there may be some specialized tasks or specialized skills that are needed to provide some of the tasks that may be needed by your aging loved one. We talked about meal preparation, emotional support, just providing a listening ear, be available to listen to their concerns or fears. If you're working and maybe you're part of the sandwich generation and you are working, apologize, my nose is itching. If you're part of that sandwich generation where maybe you've got, older kids at home, teenage kids, college kids, and, maybe someone, you need to be available to, your family as well. So maybe just having a caregiver come and spend some time with them and just listen to them, talk to them, read to them, just, chat with them, and just to offer comfort and understanding is something that you can, free up yourself to be able to have more time with your family. Engaging in comforting conversations, talking about the old times. Sometimes, aging adults, they like to visit with someone their own age because they can relate to them. They can share common, backgrounds growing up, or common things that they did during the Depression, or common things that they did during this or that. So they oftentimes enjoy spending time with people of their own generation. So companionship, dedicate time to simply being present. So when you're delegating these tasks, maybe, if you have someone preparing a meal and you've got this nice freezer meal, you come over after work and this is your night, you want to have dinner with your mom or your dad or your parents. All you have to do is warm it up. You don't have to spend, all that extra time. So You get to sit down, have a meal with them. It's already prepared. You just have to warm it up, and you can engage in conversation, and you can have more quality time than just time in the house, but not, spending that time being a companion with your parents. Engaging in hobbies or activities by freeing up and delegating other tasks. Maybe you can, there's something that you enjoy doing with your parents, whether it's playing games, gardening, working on crafts, putting together puzzles, whatever that might be. Social interaction. Oftentimes they get very lonely. And when I was saying like part of the sandwich generation, you may be working a full-time job, and sometimes they get lonely. And I've heard stories. I mean, my partner Linda is going through a challenge with her mom right now on hospice, and sometimes she'll get 12 to 18 phone calls in a day, and sometimes midnight, sometimes 3 a.m. And so sometimes if you have other people, and I can't say you always can prevent that because you want them to reach out to you in emergency, but they may get lonely during the day. And so if you have someone scheduled to do a check-in call, like you have a friend of theirs that calls them every day at 1 o'clock in the afternoon, and they spend 15-20 minutes chit-chatting, that might be enough to get them through the rest of the afternoon and feel that they've had some social engagement and they don't feel lonely or isolated. Errands, we talked about errands and transportation. We talked about grocery shopping. We talked about, medical appointments, maybe picking them up and taking them to the senior center for senior exercises like chair yoga. Chair yoga has become very popular with our aging adults, and it's exercises they could do either sitting in a chair or holding onto a chair. They don't have to get on the floor. They don't have to get into any kind of poses that they don't think that they'll ever get into, but yet it's relaxing and it's stretching. They're using those muscles. So, motion is lotion to our aging adults. So we lubricate those joints, get those muscles stretched, and they, and that goes a long way to keep their health going. Managing household tasks. We talked about that. Light housekeeping, laundry, organizing, decluttering. All of these types of things can be, shared with other people than yourself. Planning meals, we talked about that. Financial assistance, budgeting, paying their bills, keeping their records, tailoring the caregiver tasks to fit their individual needs. And that's the most important thing, is that you need to take the time to make a list of just what tasks, what things do they need done. And then, next to that, write down if that needs to be done by you or if that needs to be done by someone else. And then that will help you start sorting out how you can begin to delegate the tasks. And then you can put together a personalized care plan with some volunteers, with some or family members. And again, don't discount those family members that live out of town, because there's a lot of things that they can do. Even they can have access to their MyChart, their online patient portal. If you have someone in the family that has some kind of a healthcare background, or someone that feels very comfortable dealing with the doctor and their treatment plan and things like that, if they live from a distance, they can get on, send messages to the doctor, look at all the tests and everything online, and they don't have to be, local to be able to do that. So that's another task that someone living out of town, a family member, can take care of. So again, we've included a little checklist here for you that kind of helps you. You can check the items or the tasks that need to be done for your aging loved one. There's some room for you to add, some specific ones. And then there's some room for some notes. And then we just have our contact information there. So that is just really important. And hopefully that you will find this of value. If anyone we're going to wrap things up for our Tuesday tips. If anybody has any questions, please feel free, type them into the comment, and I will get them answered for you. And I appreciate the time that you've spent with me this evening for Tuesday tips. So I'll hang on for just a little minute longer. Again, in the comment section, I'm going to take this off the screen, but in the comment section, I have given you the link to go ahead and get that free checklist, that delegating task checklist. And with that being said, I'm not seeing any questions come through. So thanks for stopping by and spending a few minutes with us. I know everybody's busy and we really appreciate it. We'll want to continue to bring you value. So we will see you next Tuesday for the next Tuesday tips. Take care and we'll see you soon.